Welcome to Tech Tuesday. We're going to look at our digital resources, or three of the most important ones on the website: Libby, Hoopla, and digital archives. And if you have questions, feel free to ask them during the presentation. Also, you can put them in chat or raise your hand and just let me know if you have a question. This is being recorded, and I will send out slides and the recording later on this week. So thank you for being here. Okay, so oops. So we'll start with Libby, but before there was Libby, there was OverDrive, which provides some confusion. OverDrive was the original company. It was created as a web browser and an app. But the OverDrive company decided to create a new app called Libby. I think it's a play on librarian. They both access the same collection of ebooks, MP3 audiobooks, and magazines. Now the best access is through the Libby app or libbyapp.com on your browser. So to start with Libby, you can download the app either through the Apple Store, Amazon, or Google Play, or you can use it on your web browser at libbyapp.com. If you're doing the app, here's what you do. You download the Libby app, which is the little reader right here. And then you get this first window, which asks if you have a library card. Hopefully you do. Then the next window allows you to do a couple of things. So you can either search for your library if this is the first time you've ever installed Libby. If you have Libby on another device and you just want to put the same account on a tablet as versus your phone, you can copy the information from your device. You search for your library by putting in your zip code or the name. For us, it's the New Hampshire Downloadable Books Consortium. Then it will say sign in with my card. The final window on this screen, I just wanted to alert you, the arrow points to yes, I read with a Kindle. If you only want to read with Kindle, go ahead and click that. Otherwise, I would skip it because you have the ability to read within the app or to read or to send it to your Kindle every time you borrow a book. And I will, let's see, we go to this. If you need help with this, these are a lot of very short, great, helpful presentations. The overview, signing in for the first time, adding a library card. It's pretty straightforward, but just so you have it. Okay. When you are in Libby, this is basically the toolbar that you'll be using. The magnifying glass is searching for a specific title. The little building is searching the library's collection. The three lines are the menu settings. The books are my stack and my timeline, and let's go take a look at that. So, okay, so if I want to search for a specific book, I click on the magnifying glass, and I can put a title in. Let's see, Mother, Daughter, Me, and I can search for that, and then I just click on it, and it gives me my search results. I can borrow it at this point. I can just read a sample, or I can tag it. The tag allows me to sort of collect a lot of books that I'm interested in that are similar, so that I can come back and look at those books. I don't have to look. I can decide what I want to borrow later on. The other thing that I wanted to show you with this is you go back to the regular search. So right now we have the filters of books, audiobooks, magazines available now, and Kindle. But there are a lot more filters that you can use, including subject matter, format, availability now, popularity, audience. You can even choose books that may be in French. And whether you want to be able to read it with a Kindle, EPUB, PDF, or otherwise. So there's a lot you can do there. The building is, as I mentioned, the library collection. And basically, this page has to do with New Hampshire downloadable books. It's the books that they have. They have curated it a little bit, so they've given you a grouping of books with the that based on titles. I mean, like, let's see, down here, Murder in Amish Country, Crimes and Mysteries Without Borders. There are guides that they've created for different age groups or different types of books. And this is the extras. And in that case, this is where you can get the Great Courses Library Collection, if you're familiar with it. And we can talk more about that later. And again, you have the option to change the filters. Right now, you can see in this green bubble, there's 37,951 titles. That's a lot of titles to go through. Let's say I'm interested, really, I want to read historical fiction. That drops it down significantly. And I only want books. So now I'm down to almost just over 3,000. I definitely want it available now. So that brings me down to just over 2,500. And you can continue to sort of filter to get down to a shorter amount. And then once you have put those filters in place, you click on this and it will bring up everything that it has collected for you. Yeah. Back to this. Oh, well, hold on one second. I'm going to go. Yeah. So as I said, that was the library. This is our menu settings, and basically, if I wanted to add a library, for example, I live in Hancock, but I work at the Peterborough Town Library. So I have a Peterborough Town Library card, but I also have a Hancock Library card. I could add my Hancock Library card there. I can manage my cards. And what I really wanted to point out was some settings. There's a lot here that might be very useful to everyone. This is the copy to another device, which you saw in the setup when we were downloading the app. This is where you can, if you determine you want to read the books only in Libby or only in Kindle, you can do that. You can manage notifications, you can adjust the navigation bars, but this is my favorite. You can choose languages. So if you wanted to read, if you're trying to improve your Italian, you could choose to read books in Italian. I will go through the toolbars and then I'm going to ask for questions. So the set of books is my stack. These are the books that I have checked out. I've already decided that I want to read this in Libby, so that's how it's set up. It tells me that it's due in 7 days. But this book, which I just checked out this morning, I still have the option to either read with Libby or Kindle. I can manage the loan. It's just telling me a little bit about it. This little cloud tells me it's borrowed, but it also tells me well, we'll get to this a little bit later, but if I were doing this through the app as opposed to the web browser, I could actually download the book so it's offline, so I don't have to be connected to the internet. You can't do it on the browser, but you can do it in the app. So, and then the final one is my timeline. These are the things that I've checked out, and then earlier checkouts And I just wanted to go over a couple of the icons here. For example, if I wanted to, let's see, this one. Hold on a second. This one is available to borrow. You can see the little pop-up. So this one is already borrowed. The copies are already borrowed, so I can be put on the wait list on the hold. This icon means that the item is not owned by the library. But if the library does get it, I can put a notify me tag on it and they'll let me know about it. So that's just a little bit more information for you. So does anybody have any questions about the timeline? I mean, the toolbar?
I have a general statement / question.
Yeah.
So I remember someone came asking for help getting Libby onto their Kindle. And I remember the answer essentially was, while you can send things to your Kindle through Libby, you still have to set up Libby on a second device in order to get those items on the Kindle in the first place.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, we'll go through the navigating reading on Kindle. There's a short video that we'll watch, which will explain it. But yes, you're basically going into Libby on a device, selecting a book and sending it to your Kindle. So you're not putting the app on the Kindle. Once you are in Libby, this is what a book will look like. There are, and I just wanted to go over this toolbar. Basically, the first one is the number of columns available. You can create multiple two columns, but that's only available in your browser. In the Libby app, it's just the single column. This allows you get rid of the toolbar because it's hard for us to see. If you click on appearance, you'll see you have the ability to change the text scale. You can change the lighting if that helps with the reading, and you can also change the book design, the publisher's default, or you can go legible or scholar, whatever is most comfortable for you. So worthwhile playing with those. Once the magnifying glass is again searching within the book. For example, if you read something and you wanted to go back to where it discussed an individual, you could put their name in the search bar, and that would go back. That would give you all the places that individual, those words were mentioned. And then the final one is you can bookmark a line or create a highlight. So again, it's sort of like taking notes in a way. If you're reading a book and you want to come back and look at something, you can highlight it, or you can just put a bookmark in it so you can get back to it easily. And this is how to read on a Kindle. And basically, you're right. And this is available really only in the US. And you tap on the shelf and tap on loans and read with. And I'm going to show you, it's probably easiest just to watch this little video, which doesn't take very long.
Want to read on your Amazon device? Amazon offers two lines of devices, Kindle e-readers and Fire tablets. If you have a Fire tablet, simply download Libby from the Amazon App Store. Once you download the app, you can follow our other how-to videos to start browsing and borrowing titles in Libby. If you have a Kindle e-reader in the United States, you can send most ebooks from Libby to your Kindle. To do this, start on the title details page in Libby. Look to see that the Kindle format is supported. If so, when you borrow a Kindle-compatible ebook, open the book and choose to read with Kindle. You'll be taken to Amazon.com to finish the fulfillment process. If you haven't signed into Amazon yet, you'll be prompted to do so first. In gray, choose which Kindle-compatible device to deliver it to. Then tap the yellow Get Library Book button and you'll be sent to a confirmation page. The title will now appear on your Kindle homepage. If you're having trouble getting the library book from Amazon's website onto your Kindle, go to your account and manage content and devices. From there, you can choose from the list of actions. If that doesn't work, we recommend contacting Amazon support.
So fairly straightforward on how to read on a Kindle or a Fire.
I do have a
Oh, yeah.
question.
Go ahead.
If you choose to read a book initially on a Kindle, but you want to see it also on your browser or phone, do you have to switch back or is it either or?
I believe that you can switch back, but I have never tested it, but that's an interesting idea, whether you start with a Kindle and, for example, you've got your Kindle and you don't have it with you right then and you want to continue your book. I think you should be able to do it in the browser window, but we would have to test that. Does anybody who's on the call have any experience with that? Okay.
No.
Okay, thanks. So, oops, did I go too far? Okay, yes. So the other thing the most recent thing with Libby is that they've created a magazine rack. And they now are allowing you to check out, to read magazines, to subscribe to them, and there's absolutely no waiting. So I'm going to show you that. Just back here. Probably the easiest way to do it, you can do it on your shelf, but you can also do it within just the search. So for example, I want to look at the magazines. Now, I have all of these magazines. I could, for example, I'm interested in the New Yorker. I could just open this up and read it as is. If I'm interested in an earlier issue, I click on issues and that gives me all the issues. And I can choose the issue I want to read. If I click on the blue card, that allows me to borrow it for 7 days. And if I'm interested in always getting notified when the next issue is out, I can hit the subscribe. So that's very helpful. And you will see it. You will also see the magazine rack on your shelf, your personal shelf. For example, I just checked out this latest issue of Cook's Illustrated. This will also take me to the newsstand and I can do the same thing here. It doesn't work as well in a browser, which is why I showed you the other way, but you can do it in the Libby app fairly easily. So, and I'm really excited because one of the problems with Libby has been you have to wait for popular titles. So because there's only a limited number of titles that the New Hampshire consortium has purchased, and there can be a long wait list because it's all of the New Hampshire libraries that are participating. But the pros are there's no limit to what you can check out per month. You can read and listen offline if you're using the Libby app. You can change if it's an audiobook, you can change the playback speed, you can add bookmarks or set a sleeping timer. The binge passes, which is the great courses. And streaming is available to a number of devices. And if you're interested in that, sending it to Apple TV or Roku. There are some great help videos on Libby to help you do that. So that's pretty much Libby. Does anybody have any questions about Libby? Right. Hoopla. Hoopla is the other streaming service that we offer. It provides, Libby has a good collection, but Hoopla has a significant collection because it includes ebooks, audiobooks, music, magazines, comics, movies, and TV. If you're going to set up a Hoopla app, you download the app, or you go to hoopladigital.com and you create an account. And basically what you're doing, just enlarge that so it's easier to see. What you need is a valid library card and a valid email address. You search for your library, you enter your library card, and you create a password. And this password will be specific to Hoopla. It's not necessarily your library password because you're setting up a separate account. Then, if you have used Hoopla before, this is what the app would have looked like, but they just changed it. So I just wanted somebody to, I had set this up because I had done this, gotten these slides ready a couple of weeks ago, and this was the way the app looked before. But this is what's happening now. If you're looking for different formats, it's on the home page. Right here, you'll see that the little house is your home. You'll see the various formats that you can, and recently borrowed, and things that are recommended for you based on what you had borrowed before. My Hoopla is the next tab, and that allows you, that shows you what you borrowed, your holds, your requests, and if you created favorites, you'll see them there. There is a search button, very similar to the search button on Libby. They do have trending searches listed. Surprise, surprise, Taylor Swift. And then there are the personal settings, including the information for linking to a streaming device, because you can also link your Hoopla account to Apple TV, to a variety of different devices. And this link, which you'll get in the slides, gives you the Hoopla help page, and it will bring you to a lot of different, you can search for a topic, or you can sort of like troubleshooting, updating a device using Hoopla on your TV, and it will give you the information that you need. If you are using Hoopla on your web browser, you'll see My Hoopla, browse, and everything, and it's very straightforward. My Hoopla basically has the same list that's on the app, what you currently borrowed, if you've selected favorites, and your history. The browse has a limited number of items that you can search through: comics, audiobooks, ebooks, blah, blah, binge passes, and everything is exactly what it says. That allows you to search by author, by categories, publishers, or series. And Hoopla also has binge passes. They have more than the Libby app has. It has, and basically it's 7 days of unlimited access to the online content. There are movies, there are puzzles, comics, all sorts of things that are available for to download. So the pros for Hoopla is there is no waiting. You are never put on hold for an item. You get it immediately. You can change the playback speed, not unlike Libby. You can watch, read, listen offline, but only on the apps. There are binge passes, and streaming is available to a number of devices. The cons are there are only 3 checkouts per month, and you have to have a valid email address. And the reason there are only 3 checkouts per month is because the library actually pays Hoopla per checkout, so we have to limit it to a certain number.
Would you please explain binge passes?
Okay, so we'll go back to, these are the binge passes. Let me just see if I can get you up to, hold on a second. And if you go into Hoopla and go down to, these are popular binge passes. So these are things that you can go into this group, and for 7 days, it counts as one checkout. And you can look at magazines, Hellosaurus, comics, a variety, the great courses, sort of all sorts of things that you can do. It's a lot of fun. Most of it seems to be very child oriented, but good stuff. So, and the nice thing is that it's one checkout, so it doesn't count against, like, for example, if you went into binge passes and you wanted to look at kids' books in action, Kid Go Kid Go Universe, and Hellosaurus, it wouldn't be 3 checkouts, it would be 1, as long as you did it within the week. Does that make sense? Okay, sure. So as I mentioned, you have to have a valid email address, and there are only 3 checkouts per month. Does anybody have any questions about Hoopla? Is there anything in the chat, Tim, that I need to be?
No, I think that covered it.
Okay, great. So those are the 2 streaming devices that services that I wanted to talk to you about. But we also wanted to share our digital archives. If you're ever interested in doing a little bit of exploring, the digital archives are pretty amazing. So basically, to find them, you go to our website, Books and Media. You can get it either through newspapers or local history. And there's the green button, visit PTL Digital Archives. It's got newspapers, it's got yearbooks, it's got all sorts of things that are digitally available. This is the page that you'll come to. You can search by word, you can search by date, you can search individual titles or decades. So, and if you put in the words, you can either search for all the words, the exact phrase, any of the words, or none of the words. It's basically Boolean made easy. And you can search between time periods on that date, before or after. Or again, as I mentioned, you can search by title of by the title of the newspaper or the regional yearbook, or by the decade. So first you put in your search terms and the date in, and then you can further narrow the results with advanced search. This will allow you, so you don't get quite as many hits on a advanced search, but you have to start with the country, and then you narrow it by the state. And then you can even narrow it further by the city. And if there's a title of like the Monadnock Ledger, you can add that as well. Once you get your results, this is what the page will look like. What I put in is when books went to war, because we did it as the book club read it. And I wanted to remember when exactly we had read it. And I knew that I had done a press release last year. I knew that I had read it last year. So I set the dates between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021. I put the title in, I said exact phrase, because I didn't want a lot of unnecessary hits. And this is what I got. I got 3 listings for the Monadnock Ledger transcript. And then if I go further, so I can click on one, and it brings me to the actual find. The search terms will be highlighted, so you'll get the page that it's on. It might be lower, but if you search, if you scroll down, you'll see wherever the title that you put in is highlighted. That's the article that they're referring to. And basically, so this is the toolbar for the digital archives. Basically, you have the home button. You have return to search results. You can search on the page you're on, the crop button. So if you only want that article, and we're going to go through that in just a minute, you can download the whole newspaper. If you're looking at it in your browser and it's a huge newspaper and you want to reduce it, you can reduce the page size. And for example, I've searched for articles where it starts on the front page and then it continues on page 20. I can change the page number with the down arrow, and that's the full screen. So I want to crop this article. So the first thing I do is I click on that crop button that in the toolbar, and I move the crop box to cover and expand it to cover the article. And then I hit this arrow, and it will bring me to this page, which has the crop. I can add a title. I can add tags either with like persons, place, topic, or era. And if I want to write a little note about it, I can do that. And then I hit next. And this allows me to add more tags. I can add a filter to make it sort of, I'm not sure why you would add a filter, but there is the option. So you can put a yellow screen or a blue screen on it. And I can also highlight an image if I'm interested in doing that, so that I have it. And then the last step gives me another opportunity to add a tag. If I'm unhappy with what I have created, I can click edit this discovery. It will take me back to the beginning step. And at this point, if I'm ready, I can either send it to a printer, or I can download it to my computer. So if you're trying to sort of collect information about an event that happened a couple of years ago, this is a wonderful, wonderful resource to use. And the earliest newspapers are late 1800s, early 1900s, and we continue to digitalize papers as we go along. Yeah. Finally, if you're really interested in doing some searching, you can do all of this searching from our site, but if you go to the site directory, it gives you all the resources across the country. So, for example, let's see. I grew up in Ohio. So I want to look at resources that are in Ohio. And these are collections from various libraries. And you can go ahead and just Way Public Library. And I can get into here. It tells me what they have available. And I can search within that. So if you want to do a regionally specific search, that's a great way of doing it. So you can find out what resources are available and you have access to all of that. So, great for if you're doing some ancestry research, or you want to know about something that happened in Peterborough or in the Monadnock region years ago. This is a great way of looking at the newspaper archives. And it makes me think of one of my favorite books, which was talking about the ride of her life, and an author, this happened in the fifties, and an author actually used old newspaper articles about her trip across the country with a horse and a dog in the fifties. And she collected the newspaper articles as the basis for her research for creating the book. So there's lots you can do with that. All right. So pretty straightforward. Does anybody have any questions? I just wanted to run through those. I encourage you to play with them. If you have any questions, you can ask anybody. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy.
Thank you. Had a question about the newspapers. I noticed there's some overlap with the Monadnock Ledger transcript, whether it has a hyphen or not, and the years overlap. Whereas the Peterborough transcript seems to run up to a date and then continue with the word "the." But just wondering about the Ledger transcript, why there's that overlap.
Let's go take a look. I'm not 100% sure. I just need to, hold on a second, let me just get to.
And it looked like at the front level there, it showed a break in coverage, whereas when you get into this browse by title section, it seems to be a continuous date.
Yeah, so I think they're still updating. Let's see. So basically, this is what we have in our digital archives. We have the Peterborough transcript from 1972 to 2006, the Ledger transcript, and from 2008 to 2022. And I'm not sure what the difference is between that and the Ledger transcript from 2006 to 2018. I'd have to look into that. But
one has a hyphen.
Yeah, I know. Let's just see. Hold on a second. So this has. It should be. You would think that it would be the same.
Yeah.
I think it's a fairly automated process, and it's
Mhm.
possible that the OCR just got confused.
Right. That's very
Because
very
this
possible.
is, I forget how it's outsourced, but I know it's not like Mary in the basement with a
Right.
scanner kind of thing. So
Or
I
Linda.
think it's,
Yeah.
I think whatever company does the transcription, just it's a little too automated, possibly in
Right.
that respect.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we actually recently just had a problem because what we have done is sent those historical newspapers off and they digitalize them and they also put them on microfiche. We don't
Mhm.
currently have a microfiche reader. So we are sort of dependent on the digital archives. And it may be something in that system that is causing that. But that's very interesting that we've got, let's see if I do that.
Yeah, not just a continuation with the other name, but
Right,
actual overlap is
Yeah.
weird, but that's fine.
interesting. But worth looking into, so thank you. I will take a look at it. So,
And will the yearbooks continue to be entered?
I
You
believe
know,
so.
stops at 2018.
Yeah, I believe so. We have a budget for it, and I think we're sort of continuing to work. And also too, I know that there was a problem with getting a hold of a couple of these yearbooks. We're
Right,
able to find somebody who had them, so we were able to upload them. So
great.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
thank
a
you.
nice resource to, sort of look at our history. There's a lot that's happened in Peterborough, and it's nice to see primary sources and how it was viewed in the moment. So, okay. Well, thank you, everyone. It was
Well,
a
I
short class.
have two questions
Okay.
because we have to draw this out. We're getting paid by the hour, unless your salary. All right, so two questions, kind of the same question. What other services, like digital services, does the library have, and are any of those services changing for the next year?
Well, there is a lot of conversation about what digital services we have, and you may have received an email with a survey about the digital services, because we are looking at it and we are considering other possibilities. Right now, we go to the website, it's very much in transition. So, but I will show you first, books and media. We have Novelist Plus, if you've ever used it, that's really good for read-alikes. If you're trying to think about what the next book is that you want to read. There's information about Hoopla and Libby. This should actually be taken off because OverDrive is no longer useful. And just let me see what else. I'm just online services. If you, EBSCO used to be very, very full of lots of resources. It is purchased by the state library and they reduce their budget, so there's not as much available there, but there's Explorer, there's Novelist, Greenfile, which is a database of journals covering all aspects of the environment. And again, the other thing that we actually do a separate class on is Ancestry. Now, Ancestry is important. You have to be on the library Wi-Fi to access it. So you would need to come into the library to do that. And that sort of goes hand in hand with the digital archives, if you're trying to collect information about a family member. So those are some of the resources. Plus, not quite the same thing, but if you are interested, let's just go back to find and order a book. And you can request an item through interlibrary loan or an order request that goes to the same spreadsheet. So it really doesn't matter what you fill out. So it doesn't really qualify as online, but it sort of does. So basically you fill out this form and the ordering librarians will look at it. If it's older than a year, they'll try to get it through interlibrary loan. If it's recent, then they will consider adding it to their collection. So those are some of the basic ones, the basic sort of services that we have at the library. But stay tuned because we did that survey and we are examining online services and what is important. Because more and more people are using the library remotely. So, any other questions?
Well, I have another
Question.
statement,
Oh, go ahead.
but Kathy can definitely go first.
Oh, all right. Yeah, we'll elongate this. On that last page, there's an announcement about Mango being discontinued.
Right, yes.
And we have expanded print language learning options. So
Right.
what are some of those options?
So if you come into the library and you go down, do you know where the magazines are on the porch? That sort of mid-level, it's by the concourse.
Yeah. Is that the young adult section?
Yeah, it's before the young adult section. There's the magazines and then the CDs and then DVDs and then young adult.
Yes.
On the wall next to the magazines is a language learning section, which includes books, CDs, and DVDs for language learning. We are considering another language app, but we just didn't have enough usage of Mango to make sense of it.
Okay.
And Tim, your statement?
Oh, actually, that pretty much covered my statement. I was just going to say, just like what happened to Mango, if a resource is not being utilized by the community, the library has, some duty to look at and evaluate where money should be spent. So if something like Mango isn't being used, then the townspeople can lose it. So I know one of the services that I really liked, or I thought was a really good resource, was LinkedIn Learning, which used to be lynda.com,
Right,
which was like a tutorial website that also offered you the opportunity to get badges or certifications that would show up on LinkedIn,
right,
which I thought was really great, but people didn't really use it.
exactly.
So if you find the library has something, or during the survey, if you put something forward and the library does choose to get it, remember to try and get, friends and family or other community members to use it, so the library sees that it's being used and is, worthwhile to purchase.
Exactly, exactly. We need to be attentive to our budget and to what's serving the community best. So, yeah, so the more use, the more likely we are going to be able to keep it in the system, so. And we're always interested in what you're interested in, so don't be shy about encouraging us to look into a different streaming service, so. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Much appreciated. I will send this out and this week along with the slides. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me and I'd be happy to, or come into the library. Any of the librarians can help you with all of these services.
We do have one question about the event calendar.
Yes.
I guess just, show it off a little bit.
Yeah. So if I go to events, so for example, right here, so these are for if you wanted to book a room or you just want to get information about the various rooms. For example, if you wanted a study room, you could basically go in and book a study room for a couple of hours, and you can do that a couple of times a week. But our events page is right here. You can set, for example, we're going to look at, let's look at what's going to happen on the 19th. So I'm going to change the dates to the 19th. And I'm going to look at, I can choose event type if I want to, or I can search for a different event. But right now on the 19th, I'm bringing this up because our last tech class of the year is going to be run by Tim, and it's the year in review. So there's been a lot happening in tech this year. This is going to be a really interesting program. So I encourage you to register. You just click on the button and go and fill out the registration form. So, any other questions?
That's it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coming, and I will send this out later this week.